Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves really well. I just decided to take a long break, and my break was gonna last a little bit longer until next week, but I'm back. Anyways, I've been really, really exhausted with everything that's been going on, and um, I have to tell you guys, being a mom, like a single mom, is not easy. It's not easy at all. It's so incredibly difficult, especially if you're also homeschooling, and especially if you have a very emotional, spirited child, and you know, and yeah, so it's incredibly difficult, and really it takes everything out of you, and I might make a separate video about this, just discussing this, because I think, a lot of people, especially like younger people, right, they idealize parenthood, and they think that it's something completely different. It's kind of like going to you know, going to law school or going to med school, right? Most people think that they're going to be saving lives, right? And they don't think about the paperwork. They don't think about the bureaucracy. They don't think about the office politics. They don't think about, the fact that you have to do what you're told, right? And so it's the same here, right? Like everything has another side too. And oftentimes we get our unrealistic um, picture from the movies, from shows. And it's been studied, it's been proven that people actually believe what they're watching. That's why it's so imperative to watch um, as realistic things as or videos and shows as possible, because if you don't, it creates unrealistic expectations, and then more often than not you end up pursuing that and then getting disappointed, because you didn't have realistic expectations. So it's important to also get the bad side, the good side and the bad side of everything, right? And guys, I'm not saying that I wouldn't want to become a parent. There's no way. I love my son, dearly, right? And he's the world. He's like, I would give birth, as painful as my birth was. Um, I would do it over and over again for my son, because I have, you know, I have a beautiful soul that's next to me, and I'm extremely blessed, right? But that doesn't mean that they're not going to be stages where you're just not going to be enjoying that stage, because, and I will explain why in perhaps another video. But yeah, all I can say is that, this stage has been extremely difficult, and has really, really worn me out, you know and yeah, so there's that, right? But anyways, guys, in this video, I didn't want to discuss this in particular, okay? I wanted to discuss friendship, and how um, it's incredibly important to choose the right people in your life, okay? And because as the wrong people, they're going to make your life a living hell. In fact, they're going to set you up, maybe even, they might even put you into situations that are dangerous, especially nowadays, right? Um, and, the wrong people, they will be jealous of you. And jealousy is a very dangerous thing. Jealousy is a very dangerous thing that can cause people to do horrendous things, One time, guys, I will tell you, okay? Um, oh yes, and I also wanted to add something else, right, to what I just said. Jealous people, and jealousy can come from both sexes. It doesn't matter, okay, who you are, whether you're a guy or a girl. But I will add this: if you're a physically attractive girl, okay, a woman, or a man, and if you especially have a beautiful spirit, right, to add to your physical attractiveness, then you're not get ready to not have any friends, okay? Get ready to not have any friends, unfortunately, okay? That's the price that comes with physical attractiveness and spiritual attractiveness, okay? Um, if you are a physically attractive woman or a man, right? Um, get ready to be criticized, scrutinized, over everything. People will nitpick you, and they're going to try to find faults. They're going to try to, they're gonna look at you, and in their eyes you're like perfect, and they think, wait, there's no way that this person is perfect. You make them, just by being yourself, you make them feel terrible about themselves, and so they're going to try to find faults in you so that they don't feel so bad about themselves, okay? So that's the problem, right? So that's one issue, right? But there's so many other ones too, and but let's go back to this now, right? I'm an incredibly intuitive person, right? Very sensitive, okay? And so I can feel energy, right? And so one time I said something to a guy, and he is a very attractive, physically attractive guy, right? And I just give him a compliment, basically, and I'm very straightforward. I don't give compliments to guys very often, but I'm not shy, If I want to say something good, then I will, you know. And so I did, and there was another guy, and it was supposedly his friend, right? And as soon as I gave him that compliment, and I was very loud, and so a lot of people heard it, right? The guy got very, very excited, and he was like really smiley, very happy. But on the other hand, his so-called friend, right, that's always with him and around him, he sent his energy was very disturbing. It felt like he wanted to kill him, That's how pissed off he was by hearing what I said. And so that was directed towards his so-called body, right? And so that's very disturbing, guys. And this happens more often than we realize. And the reason why I brought this up is just to give you an example of, being careful of who you're around. Um, when it comes to, attractiveness, right? Physical attractiveness is very important. Uh, and unfortunately, it also gets in the way of, like, for example, very physically attractive people having good friends. And the reason being is because, well, first of all, right, it comes down to mating choices, right? The more physically attractive you are, the more mating choices you will have. Not necessarily decent and healthy relationships, but definitely more mating options. Okay, so if you're a woman, if you're a man, you're gonna be wanted by a lot of people, right? Desired, not necessarily wanted for a long term relationship, right? But just desired. And okay, guys, so heck, some people won't even follow you because of your physical attractiveness, because just by looking at you, right, and if you have a good heart on top of it, it makes them feel bad about themselves, and people don't want to feel bad about themselves, right? And so they're going to unfollow you because of that. You might not even get as many followers as you like, right? But of course, this when it comes to your followers, right? There are many factors that are involved, right? But like I said, physical attractiveness is not always good, right? And it does have its bad side, right? And so, as everything has a dark side too, right? A dark and a light side. And so that's one of those, right? But once again, attractive people, physically attractive people are like some of the loneliest people that are out there, because of those reasons, okay? Because they supposedly they steal other people's mating options. Okay, all the attention is on them. They get a lot of attention from the opposite sex, and so other people that are less physically attractive that are with them, perhaps they're not going to like it. But hey guys, even if someone is physically attractive, doesn't mean that they're also spiritually attractive. That means it doesn't mean that they have the right morals, the right values. It doesn't mean that they're internally beautiful, guys. I've met plenty of very physically attractive people that are extremely ugly on the inside, you know. So there's also that, right? And so, you know, when it comes to that, right? Even if you do find a physically attractive friend, for example, right? Same level of attractiveness, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be jealous, okay? Because they might still be very jealous, like I said, because they're lacking in those inner qualities, inner positive qualities, right? That you perhaps possess. So once again, once they get to know you, they're going to start getting very strange and weird with you, okay? um Also, another thing is, guys, okay, just watch out. There's some signs that you can look out for when it comes to other people, right? And like the way that they're treating you, right? If someone is nice in your face, and when you're around other people, they start just ignoring you, right? Like what girls tend to do is, right, when you get with a group of girls, for example, they will just ignore you, right? So they'll ignore you, they'll get together with other women, right, and they'll ignore you, they will not include you. So that's just, you know, that's pretty terrible. But that's what girls tend to do. Girls tend to be more um, passive aggressive, basically. Okay, like, they're not direct like guys, right? If you're a guy, what guys tend to do is they once again also they might get together with another guy, okay, and they're gonna start like harassing or bullying you, okay, directly. They might start saying like really nasty stuff and just bullying you together. You know, they group up basically and they'll start bullying you if you're a more attractive male. Okay, so if that's happening to you, get away from that person. If they're just nice to your face, if they're nice in private and then they're mean to you in a group setting, they start bullying you more, or in fact, if they bully you at all, you know, then don't be friends with them. Just get away from them because really um, you know, you're, you have to recognize your self worth, right? And